Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, hi viewers, welcome to Learners Podcast. In today's session, we are going to have a panel discussion. The topic of the discussion is the Internet of Things. This discussion is part of our series of talk on the topic of the COVID-19, the challenge to the employability. The audience of this discussion are the university students, faculty members, and all those who are interested in the Internet of Things. The theme of today's discussion would remain on the COVID-19. I hope today's discussion would be a valuable addition in the existing debates on the Internet of Things and the impact of the COVID-19. I am thankful to all the panel members and the participants for sparing their time and participating in this valuable discussion. So with us in the panel from the Pakistan, Dr. Naveed Ali Khan Kaimkhani. He is currently a Dean Electrical Engineering in the Federal Urdu University, Islamabad. Dr. Naveed did his PhD in the Communication and the Information System, Dalian University of Technology, China. He did his Master's in Computers and Communication Networks from France. He holds degree of Electronic Engineering from Pakistan. His main research areas are wireless communication, wireless sensor and ad hoc network, and underwater communication. So Dr. Naveed, thank you very much for coming in this, for joining us in this session.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. Next we have from Nigeria, Dr. Shafi Muhammad Abdul Hamid. Dr. Shafi, welcome, sir. Dr. Shafi
thank you very much.
Dr. Shafi Abdul Hamid is currently an assistant professor of the cybersecurity in the IT department, Community College of Qatar, Doha. He received his PhD in the computer science from the University of Technology, Malaysia, UTM. He did his MSc in computer science from the Bayero University, Kano, in Nigeria, and the Bachelor of Technology in Mathematics with Computer Science from the Mina, Nigeria. He was the former head of department and the pioneer member of the first cybersecurity science department in Nigeria at the Federal University of Technology, Mina. His current research interests are cybersecurity, cloud computing, soft computing, Internet of Things security, malware detection, and the big data analytics. He is the member of IEEE, IACSIT, IAENG, CPN, ISOC, and NCS. He is also a member of the CSEAN. So thank you very much, Dr. Shafi, for sparing your time and joining us in this session.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Okay, next from the Malaysia, we have the Dr. Syed Hamid Hussain Madani. So Dr. Hamid is currently based in Malaysia. He receives his PhD from the UTM. His areas of interest are cloud computing, analysis of algorithm, network security, e-commerce, and Internet of Things. His area of research is optimal resource scheduling for infrastructure as a service in the cloud computing based on the Cuckoo search. So thank you very much, Dr. Hamid Madani, for sparing your time and joining us in this session, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, from Pakistan, we have Dr. Zubair Khalid. He receives his PhD in the electrical engineering from the University of Technology, UTM, Malaysia. He did his MSc electrical engineering from the University of Engineering and Technology, Taxila, Pakistan. He is currently assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, Federal Urdu University, Islamabad. His research interest would be Internet of Things, WSN for smart home ambient assisted living middleware designed for the virtual sensor networks, and hardware architecture design for video processing in H.264, H.265, and AVC. So thank you very much, Dr. Zubair, for joining us in this session, sir.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
So I am Musa Kaleem from Federal Urdu University, and I will perform as a moderator in this panel discussion. Well, we will proceed first with a short presentation for our viewers on the Internet of Things. So Dr. Zubair is going to give that presentation. So Dr. Zubair, please, sir, over to you, sir. I'm going to
Okay, sir.
play your presentation.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And I will just go on a brief presentation on the Internet of Things. Can I have the next slide, sir? Okay, what exactly is the Internet of Things? We would like to just know, and then through the panel discussion, we will go into the deep what Internet of Things is and what are the technologies that are currently in place and how Internet IoT can affect our lives. So in the introduction, I have few slides to show, and can I have the next slide, sir? Okay, Internet of Things is the internetworking of physical devices such as vehicles, buildings, animals, and other items embedded with electronics, software, sensors, actuators, and network connectivity to enable these objects to collect and exchange data. Actually, this is a very generalized definition that sums up all the things. Actually, what Internet of Things is that we have things that are communicating with each other. And to enable things to communicate with each other, actually what the technologies we need is the embedded systems. We need electronics, we need software side, we need sensors, we need actuators. And in order to talk to the things and the things talking to each other, we need networks and connectivity. So these are few of the technologies that are necessary for the Internet of Things. Next slide, sir. So whenever we hear the smart thing, whenever we hear the smart objects or smart grid or smart door or smart lock, or anything that is smart actually is incorporating IoT in it. For example, I have a blood pressure monitoring system, and actually the blood pressure monitoring system is measuring the blood pressure. It's an object, and if it is communicating with some other object, for example, my cell phone or some other sensor on my body, then if the two things are talking to each other, this means that it is an Internet of Things and two things are talking to each other. Now, what we have is currently implemented in IoT is we have smart garbage cans, smart door locks, smart pressure cookers, and all the electricity system that is running through our homes has a very powerful field of study known as smart grid that actually from the generation till up to the consumption side, we can monitor each and every node with how much current and voltage it's having. So anything that is smart must compromise of IoT. Next slide, sir. So actually for the Internet of Things, the most essential part is the sensor. Actually, the sensor is actually measuring the physical state of anything. For example, if I want to measure the temperature of the room, if I want to measure the level of oil or water, if I want to measure humidity, pressure, or any physical entity, I need a sensor. So a sensor is an essential part of IoT. Next slide. Okay, it has a number of applications. IoT from our household to the agriculture, from security, as I already told you, the smart grid, and industry, and our homes, our hospitals, every walk of life is affected and can be an application of the IoT. Next slide, sir. So here is just an example of IoT application for efficient management of the waste. And actually, we can place sensors on our garbage cans, so that they can tell the municipal committee or the garbage cleaners that now currently we have a can that is full of garbage. and then actually we can sort out the garbage into different categories. For example, few garbages are to be recycled, and few are just to be dumped out, and few can be used for the generation of the electricity, or they can be used for in a number of different applications. So if we connect from a garbage can in a building to the manufacturing or the generation plant, so if every entity in it is linked, then it is an application of IoT, that the garbage cleaner knows from where it has to pick the garbage, and what is the quantity of the garbage, and what is the type of the garbage, so it can be easily sorted out and sent to different destinations. So can I have the next slide? So if we go into the a bit of technical detail, so from sensor side, from one side, you can see there are a number of sensors. These sensors are placed on the sensor nodes, and they, for example, a sensor is placed on the door lock, or if we are checking the environment, or if it is a body sensor. So it's collecting all the data, and all the data from the sensor node is then transmitted to the gateway. The gateway could be at the home. We have all the sensor nodes placed at our home, and all the sensor nodes are actually connected to a gateway. This gateway is also known as the sync node, and this gateway is just like an access point in our homes that we usually have, that we are using for using the internet. And then all of this data is transmitted to the cloud server. And in cloud server, we have different services that a cloud server can offer to multiple applications. And then we can run multiple applications on the services that we get from the cloud server. And the application could be security system. Now, if we are implementing security system, the smart door actually will provide service for this application. And for example, if we have an earthquake and we want to evacuate, there are environmental sensors that will actually open the emergency exits when we have some emergency in our building. And then, for example, if fall detection, if we have an elderly person at our home and he unfortunately falls down, so we have the body area network and the on-body sensor that will detect his fall detection. And then from the environmental sensors, we can have an HAVC application, and so on, smart grid, and a lot of applications then we can run from there, the services that cloud server will provide us. So next slide, sir. So as I have already told you that IoT impacts a lot of areas, and it has lots of applications. It includes health, our home, transportation, smart cities, industry. Each and every aspect of these applications and these areas are deeply can be deeply affected by the IoT and can be improved by IoT. Next slide, sir. So first I have talked about the sensors, and once we have a sensor data, so the next point is how we need to process that data, and then we can make it available to the application that is far away from our side. So the most common node that that is very simple and we use for IoT are the Arduino nodes, and that Telos B, Mikazi, and the most importantly, the communication side of these devices for the low power, as the devices are small, they have small battery, so we mostly use ZigBee, that is a low power transmission protocol for the Internet of Things that take actually data from the node to the gateway or the sync node. And we have Bluetooth, and if we have some very powerful nodes or the sync, for example gateway, then gateway will be using the Wi-Fi. Next slide, So that is another picture that is actually it sums up all the sensors and applications and all the technical devices that are that can be utilized in the IoT. It could be wired or wireless systems, even from the satellite to a small sensor in our home. Every data can be integrated in IoT. Next slide, sir. And future IoT networks is based on the concept of network virtualization, in which no matter what the network we are using and which network are we, actually we can share each and everything with one another. For example, if I have a sensor node based on IEEE 2.15.4, and in the previous slides, what I just told you about the ZigBee is based on 802.15.4, and these 802.15.4 sensors could easily talk to the Wi-Fi sensors, and then the Wi-Fi sensor could easily talk to the 3D networks, and it can all happen through the gateway or the software at the gateway, or we can also have a software at the node that will enable these all devices with different the networks and heterogeneous types to communicate with one another. Next slide. And how IoT is approaching and how it's scaling up is that in 2003 we have 6.3 billion population of the world, and 500 million were the sensor nodes. And today in 2020, the predictions that we have had previously about the devices to be connected before the pandemic was 50 billion. So I hope it won't have affected much, but we will have to revisit the number of devices that are connected. But still, it's in a huge number considering the total population that around the world is 7.6 billion. So next slide, sir. Okay, there are a few global opportunities for the IoT, and as I already told you that there will be 50 to 30 billion devices connected by 2020, and trillions of sensors are going to be connected with one another, and it's actually a huge market. It's huge market. It will actually from 10 to 15 trillion dollars market in very few years. Next slide, sir. And that's another slide showing how it is scaling up and how it's going to affect the market. And next slide, sir. So why IoT now? Actually, we have a lot of technological advancements, and with these advancements, actually IoT is going to capture a lot of the research area and market also. So we have a ubiquitous connectivity, we have widespread adoption, we have IP-based networks upsurge, we have improvement in cloud computing, and last but not least, artificial intelligence. It always plays a role in each and every upcoming technology. Next slide, sir. And that's another slide showing that it's a multi-dimensional field of study, and it includes the communication side, it includes the sensor side, it includes the indoor and outdoor, and each and every time actually what we can have is what we can benefit from IoT, and we have a number of technologies that is evolving with the passage of time, and from human to human networks to human to things, and things to things, indoor and outdoor, at daytime, nighttime. Actually, it's covering each and every part. So next slide, sir. So it was just a summary, and it was just a tip of the iceberg. And I hope with the discussion that with our experts that we have around today, we will come to know and learn a lot about the Internet of Things. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zubair. Such a good, precise, and brief presentation on the Internet of Things. Okay, one thing while you were giving the presentation, I was thinking the governments are doing the smart lockdown these days. So as you have used the word the smart locks, I was thinking that Internet of Things might be involved in these smart lockdowns.
Actually, we can monitor the person's movement or the patient's movement from where actually when from the point it steps out from his home or even within home. We have such sensors that can tell its position also and its health condition also. So
Okay.
smart lockdown, if you tag any person, if you're not allowed to go to come out from this certain area, Internet of Things will enable us to actually monitor that person if he or she steps out from that quarantine area.
Okay, great. Participants, now I'm going to open the discussion. So the first question I like to raise here is from one of the viewers. They have sent me. The question is that what IoT can do for the society, particularly in the present scenario. So I would like Dr. Zubair to start replying this question.
Actually, in the current scenario, IoT has a big part to play. As we have a patient at our home, and if its condition is not very good, and with the current situation, everybody cannot physically come or attend the patient without having proper PPE. So in these conditions, what the patient needs to have is the physical sensors mounted on the body that are continuously actually monitoring the health condition of the patient. And as we all know, it has a lot of link. The disease has a lot of link with the oxygen content in the blood. So we can continuously monitor the oxygen content in the blood, and if it goes below the prescribed or it passes to the dangerous level, then it automatically will call the ambulance and the doctor or the caregiver that the patient needs physical attention. And IoT can actually monitor the movement of the person. If a person is feeling good, he is asymptomatic, or he is not very ill due to the virus, but still he can be the cause of the spread of the virus. So actually we can monitor his movement from place to place from where he is moving, and we can caution the other person, so they can be very careful from the person that is moving with the virus.
Okay.
So I think IoT has a lot to play its role in the current situation.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So, yes, Dr. Hamid Madani, sir.
Yes, sir. So nowadays, I would like to explain in simple words. IoT, every device, every phone, every laptop is working as a smart device. So everyone is the user of the smart device. We cannot live without the mobile. And during the COVID-19, if you go outside live inside the home, you are also using the smart app, Google app, different apps, which are sensing your monitoring your data. If you go for the shopping, nowadays you have to scan QR code. And if you go to the UTM, UTM or any university, you have to scan the code. So your data is sharing on the internet. So with the nowadays Internet of Things, very helpful for this condition. If you have some time, if you are patient, if you have a COVID-19, or if you have checking this thing, so easily you can everyone can capture the data and monitoring this thing. online examination, online shopping, online job, everything has moved on the traditional to the online. So IoT play a important role in these days. So
Okay.
without IoT, it cannot be possible with handling this hard situation of COVID-19.
Definitely. Good. Now, Dr. Shafi, please, sir.
Okay. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I just thank you for having me again. I just wanted to add a little things about what Dr. Zubair and what also Dr. Hamid Madni also mentioned. So basically, IoT can play a lot of roles in monitoring the COVID-19 situation we are in right now, the pandemic situation. And one important technology that IoT can contribute is actually the technology of contact tracing. When someone tested positive to COVID-19, it means that we have to check the previous history of the people that he has contact with. So I will give a real example of what is happening here in Qatar. We have an application called ETRAS, which everybody must download and install on your device. So with the ETRAS, the health situation of each individual is being monitored, and the people you have contact with is also being recorded. Actually, all the people in Qatar, you cannot go out of your house without your phone, and you cannot enter into the mall without your phone. You have to show the application that you are in good health. So the application will show a green light showing that you are in good health. But when it shows a red light, it means that this person is being affected. So it means you are not supposed to go out of your house, so you remain at home. And with that, contact tracing is quite easier because the GPS location is being monitored. So when somebody tested positive, the contact tracing of the application will check the people he has contact with in the last previous days, maybe the last 5 days. And all their ETRAS, that means the application on their phone, will change color from green, which is the normal healthy person, to a yellow showing that this person is a suspect, is not yet actually tested. So once your application turns to yellow, it means that you should be expecting the health personnel to come and take your sample for a test. So basically with that, we can have a very robust contact tracing scenario. And with that, the IoT is playing a very big role. Basically, this is the example I want to give you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. So, yes, Dr. Naveed.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me a chance to express my view about this theory. And I also thank you, Dr. Zubair, that he has very well captured the IoT, draw a picture of IoT in a small canvas very well. And about your query, we already are using IoT in our daily life. And it's how it affects. Basically, we are using in healthcare sector. We are using in our daily life monitoring, just like in mobile. We have how many steps we have walked every day, and how many calories we have burned. How it's also used in industry side and everywhere. We have a weather condition also is basically monitored by IoT. It's all this scenario already a bit mature in current scenario, and it's in future I think it will be very necessary to avoid such things, and it will be very helpful to control our information to IoT, and we can monitor it with the help of internet.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now I am moving to the next question. These are basically the question. This question is basically related to the impact of the IoT on our daily life. As you have already discussed a little bit here. So I'm going to read the 3 questions here. The first one is, how would the shape of the societies of things would be in the future? How would the general public is aware about the IoT and how much it should be? And the third one is, what will the word trust means to the things in the scenario of the Internet of Things? So I mean the trust of the people on the things which are connected through the IoT. So this is basically in this with these three questions in the perspective of these, how much the IoT is going to affect our daily life. So first I will request Dr. Shafi sir, please comment on this first question.
Okay, actually as Dr. Navid just mentioned, mostly we are already using the IoT applications, though we have not reached the maximum level of implementation and usage in the society. However, in some countries already, we have seen driverless cars in Singapore, and also in Seoul in South Korea, where we have what we call the IOV, that is Internet of Vehicles, where vehicles can drive themselves to different locations. So already we are seeing these things, and we gave several examples. The technology used, autonomous vehicles. We've seen a lot of other applications of IoT. However, in this situation of the pandemic, I would like to quickly mention that it helps in greater control of objects. So individuals will have greater control of objects. You can have greater control of your house appliances, especially in a smart home or smart city, which Dr. Zubair mentioned in his presentation. So secondly, you can also have avoidance of crowd through the application of IoT applications, softwares, and the devices which monitors the movement of individuals. So because in the pandemic situation, physical distancing, or what we call social distancing, is quite very important in avoiding or protection of individuals from the virus. So the IoT is already playing a lot of big roles in this society.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, sir. Doctor, I would request Dr. Naveed, sir.
Yes. I should write one question: how much general public is aware and should aware about IoT? I will give you a bit part. I will take you backside on it. When we have a first generation, second generation, third generation telecom. When first generation came, then people were thinking, oh, this is the telecom sector. Only first generation, we have an internet, small internet, and we can easily text the messages, and we are free to wire. When second generation came, then people say, what will be next? We have a better internet facilities, we have a better capacity. Then 3G and 4G is also focusing on the same thing, and people are adopting day by day because they are enjoying it, because they are getting better facilities, and they are feeling that they are not dependent. They have one device and it can do everything. Now IoT may be new for few people, but when time will be passed, they will enjoy the facilities of IoT. They will automatically adopt it. Already it's people in Western people, they are using IoT in agriculture sector, in health sector, in other facilities. I think with respect to time, people will adopt it easily, and they will because it gives us good control, good efficiency, and good management, and that make our life easy. That's the people I think easily adopt.
Okay, thank you very much. So another thing from the adoption point of view, as we know in Pakistan, the adoption of the e-commerce, right? It's been a long time debate that how the e-commerce adoption be made possible. I mean, the success story, a success in Pakistan. But with the incident of this COVID-19, you have seen that recently in the last couple of months, people have switched all the businesses, even the household. Our females, our males, or the kids, they have transferred to that. They have adopted these internet technologies. So this COVID has, in a way, it has played an important role in adopting these technologies as well. So what I feel as well is that the Internet of Things is a similar kind of a technology. When people will use it, when the people will adopt it, definitely they will get build a trust in it as well. How much they should adopt, yes. So, okay, so next I would request Dr. Ahmed Madni. Sir, please comment on it.
So already Dr. Shaki, Dr. Naveed told us there are too much effect on our lives. But I just want to add some things in, because when we go for adoption of IoT, it increase our progress, it increase our, reduce the errors in different things, like in human can cause different errors, can make different errors, but it reduce the errors and increase the progress. Also, when we have go for positive side, it also have a go for the negative side. It also use the more power, more electricity, more machineries, but also it when we compare to our first generation computer, second generation, the smart devices are going reduced in size and reduced in price. So, and it increases speed of the devices. So it is IoT makes what is the concept of IoT? IoT makes it easy for the users, and it is also major effect on waste management. It reduces the waste management. So before that, we are going, like you also give the example of e-learning. We go for classroom, arrange a classroom. We have to travel go for university, attend the classroom. So no need to go for that one. We arrange online everything. Also, it reduces resources. So it is also effect on our majority based on positive side, but it is also give the some disadvantage in my opinion, which is for increase the it is increase the machineries. So,
okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zubair. Would you like to comment on this question, sir?
Actually, Dr. Shafi, Dr. Naveed, and Dr. Madni have explained that very well, and how it's going to change our lives. And I just want to add one thing: is it will make our life easy. It will make our. I don't need to care of each and everything by myself when my sensors and the software running on them are actually handling it for me. So I think if this is the approach, and everything is made easy and available for us, so it will be easy for everybody to adopt IoT.
Okay, thank you. Okay, another question that comes from this discussion is that what shouldn't be connected to the Internet of Things, and why? And next one is, what types of conversations can these connected gadgets can have with each other? I mean, this is a common question generally, but in today's scenario and with the perspective of today's discussion, so I would like you to comment on it. So Dr. Ahmed Madani, please comment on this.
What devices we should? We already use the IoT devices. As I told you, if you're using the Google app also monitor your location. You are using QR scanner code. When you enter in the shop or any mall, in everything, you have to scan your codes, everything. So it is based on your necessity. It like somebody use health apps, like they want to monitor their blood pressure, heartbeat, pulse rate. So they use health applications. If you want to go for the e-learning point, they have different application for monitoring, guidance, sensing. So it depends upon what you need in these days. So it depends upon your needs and the requirement of your job specification and what you need. you have to install it, and you can use, you can be part of the IoT.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, Dr. Shafi, would you like to say on this?
Okay, the question actually is, what are those things that should not be connected to the internet, right?
Yes.
I think to make it simple, to put it in the basic things, what are those things that should not be connected to the internet? I can just answer this by citing examples, like the defense departments, for example, should not be on the internet because of the sensitivity of the type of security activities that they handle. Secondly, I can give example of maybe the CCTV in the smart city situation. It's not all the CCTVs that should be on the internet. Rather, they should be on the intranet locally. Okay, so we can go on to give many examples of this, but basically I will just stop here.
Thank you. So next, Dr. Naveed.
Yes. My opinion is that every technology has a pro and con, some benefit and some disadvantages. The big disadvantage of this internet thing is that privacy. Still, people are dig out on information that how we can secure the network. As you remember, a few months before, I think about a year before, there was one case in the USA court about Facebook and Google has shared the private information. Such thing may maybe happen through IoT. If some company are gathering information and they are not securing, such information has been shared with unknown person, then it can be a problem. Still, people are working on this. I believe as a researcher that there is a problem, there is also a solution, but we have to find it. We have to look it. As Dr. Shafi has discussed the point of internet and intranet, that's a good solution, I think. Those sensitive areas, just like military and other aspects, should be a intra-IoT network, should be a spare intra-IoT network, while other general people maybe can use the internet of IoT, internet-based IoT. That's my opinion.
So, Dr. Shafi, I would like to ask regarding the same question. Don't you think if we like the second part of this question is that what kind of the conversation we can have through these the things, what kind of conversation they will make? The privacy issue. I mean, like if we cannot stop people to communicate with each other. If we stop them, definitely that segment of the society will say, give us the right to communicate. So just on the basis of the risk or the anything, we cannot stop somebody. So we need to have some mechanism or some privacy protocol that what Internet of Things can provide us. In this regard.
Okay, thank you. Let me just tip in some other things here. Because of my background in cybersecurity, I have come to learn that the human beings, when we interact with the computer systems, we have to do some what we call the trade-offs. The trade-off is, yes, you need this, but you already know that it has some consequences. The question actually is trying to give us this type of scenario. Though we need the internet, we need the IoT devices, we need the sensors to monitor our activities. We also need greater control of our objects, our cars, our home, and whatever. But it comes with problems of trust. So how do we secure communications between individuals, between objects in an IoT environment? So basically, in the presentation that precedes this discussion, Dr. Zubair already mentioned that the IoT environment actually is being driven by a lot of other technologies, which he mentioned, some of them like the sensor and whatever. But some of the technologies that will help here in terms of increasing trust, okay, has to do with maybe encryption technologies, that's cryptographic systems, steganographic systems, Nowadays, we also use the blockchain technology for security purposes. So we can use this technology to secure communication, though it gives off a greater percentage of privacy and trust. However, I would like to emphasize here, it may not actually give us 100%, but it gives us a very good confidence in using the IoT devices and give us a lot of trust in it.
Yeah, and definitely the human factor can be minimized with this technology.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Zubair.
Dr. Shafi has actually explained very well this part, and I would just like to explain or add one or two things. Like Dr. Shafi just said, the trust. Actually, the main hindrance in IoT is the trust. Actually, for example, a healthcare data. Actually, I would not like to share my blood pressure with everyone. I would not like to share my temperature with everyone. So, or at what time I am going to sleep and what time I am going to rise up, or at what time I am using my aircon. So these are are very sensitive data for few persons, but few might not take it very seriously. If we have we have the security algorithms right in place, and we trust the technology, then only we can share the data, and the more data will be shared, the more prosperous IoT will become, and more effective it will be.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay, the next question is, what will happen in terms of the job losses and the skills as IoT makes devices and robots more intelligent? And so in the presence of these intelligent technologies and these devices, IoT devices, what would be the scenario of the jobs? The existing jobs definitely will be vanished or reduced. So new job might emerge. So I would like Dr. Naveed to start commenting on it.
Yes, basically, whenever the new technology comes, but people are working in old technology, they think that we will be jobless. But I think this can be covered up with respect to time if they will modify on techniques, on expertise in a new technology. If we will update with new technology, then there will be less chances of jobless. If I give you the example of all manual, when people are doing manual work, but now we have a very advanced technology, but day by day they have modified their techniques and expertise, and now they can use the same technology. Just like if our grandparents give, if we give a mobile to grandparents, they can't use it because they don't know the technology. But there are few elders and grandparents, they can, because they adopted it with respect to time. The jobless and totally depend that how employee is updating on self, how they are improving, are they touch with new technology or not? That's a big point. It's a fact, but if you are updated with technology, the point of jobless will be decreased.
Yeah, basically, suppose IT, when we say any technology which is so much adoptable in the society, I mean, it prevails all the segment of it is affecting all the segments of society. So all the disciplines, I mean, business disciplines, the engineering, computer science, and all the areas, they will be affected. So definitely new skills would be required. Even like, for example, if we are becoming the more and more digital society these days, so person from the different professions, they need to learn the computers, they need to learn the IT, they need to get themselves IT literate. So, so in that way, IoT should also, I mean, there should be some skill set that needs to be emerged, that can be, I mean, discussed in the university, that can be taught in the universities, and there should be some kind of certifications and courses for the IoT, so that it can be more adoptable, and more expertise can be developed for the industry and the public at large. So next, Dr. Zubair, sir. Sir, your voice is a voice problem, sir. You need to. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Can you
We
hear
can
me
hear.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Actually, Dr. Naveed has raised a very pivotal point about the adoption of the technology, and on the other hand, another point that I would like to mention is that, as I have mentioned in the slide, that it is approximately $80 billion market. So, with the Internet of Things completely on board, there is a lot of potential on the hardware side and its software side, its installation. So, I hope it will create a lot of jobs.
Definitely. Okay, Dr. Madani, sir.
Yes. So IoT effect on traditional jobs, and during this COVID-19, the traditional jobs are struck out. So all persons move on to the new jobs. Everything has been should be move on the online business, online marketing, online shopping, online digital business, digital marketing, e-learning. I give you one example. Before that, we are using simple WhatsApp. WhatsApp also give you the opportunity make your business into the WhatsApp business account. So you just change according to the old traditional WhatsApp into the new business WhatsApp. So you can promote your marketing. Before that, in Malaysia, you cannot see any sign or billboards. Everything promotion should be come on your YouTube, your Facebook account, your WhatsApp account. These are some type of marketing strategies adopted by the Malaysia. And also like during these days we cannot go for the grocery this thing, so mostly we can go for online shopping, online teaching. So there are too many courses, there are too many new job opportunities for the user, but you have to improve your skills according to the new technology. You have to learn and how you should see that how the new technology moves, then you have to improve your skill according to new technology.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Shafi, sir?
Yeah, actually, Dr. Madni gave a very good scenario. Yeah. Actually, this question actually is actually it's a very old question in computing.
Yeah.
The human beings are actually mostly afraid of new technology. What will happen if this technology comes? Am I still going to have my job? The doctors will still ask. The lawyers will ask, am I still going to have my job if the computers can do my job? So the best thing is actually the computers are also giving us a broader opportunities if we can adopt them. Yes, some jobs will be lost. However, if we actually improve our skills, we have greater opportunities because of the computers. A good example is what Madni just mentioned. You can shop online.
Yeah.
So how many people will go online and shop? Maybe if you stay in your shop and be waiting for the customers, in a day you may just have 10 customers. But if you go online, you may have multiple of customers from locations that you didn't even expect. So it gives greater opportunities for jobs. However, it must come with an effort. The effort is we must improve our skills.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question is, I want to discuss the IoT with the perspective of the two renowned areas of specialization, the artificial intelligence and the big data. These are the two things in which the specializations are being offered in the universities for our students are looking for making their career in these fields. And artificial intelligence is there is already for the last 1 or 2 decades. But nowadays it become more popular in the other areas, like in business administration, where people are thinking about the artificial intelligence. They're talking about that. So my question is, what is the role? How can you separate IoT from the AI and the big data? Although I know the IoT is a part and parcel of these two things. So first of all, I would request Dr. Shafi to speak on it, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me another opportunity to speak again. The area of computing already, they are merging with each other. It is difficult now to separate different areas of computing like IoT with AI, artificial intelligence. But to approach this question, I would like to explain a little of what AI is, since we already discussed much about what IoT is. Artificial intelligence simply means machine intelligence. That means we need to make computers to behave like humans. The connection here is just too much between IoT and AI, because AI is saying you should have greater control of your objects. Sorry, IoT is saying you should have greater control of your objects, while AI is saying that the objects should have a level of intelligence where, just like the humans. So that means it is difficult to separate these two. In the introductory presentation by Dr. Zubair, you can see that he talks about the sensors. The sensors here, actually, what they do is to sense the environment. This cannot actually be possible without a level of intelligence. That means you need some AI algorithms to control the sensors. Okay, and he actually discussed more by showing you how these sensors would be able to generate a lot of data and send it through a gateway to the cloud for storage and further processing, in which the IoT devices will be able to use effectively to carry out decisions that will lead to effective control of the objects in different locations. So basically, AI and IoT are actually connected right now. It's difficult to separate these two environments.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Naveed.
Yes, thank you again. Dr. Shafi has very well summarized about AI and IoT. I like to add it, and I will do further endorse the Dr. Shafi thinks that everything is now merged basically. Before we have a physics, and physics drives the electronics, and then we have a computer science, we have electrical, we have a telecom. Now it's separating, but now we are going towards, again, everything is merging. AI, IoT is purely part of computer and software engineering part. AI is basically helping IoT to make more intelligent. I give the example of just like we are using this software for video conferencing, and this video conferencing is basically IoT is basically sharing our information and is managing. We have a 5 participant, and each participant is managing each participant duration, and everything is basically part of it, artificial intelligence. Yeah. We have to make a machine. We can get the information from IoT, but we have to take. We have to use the machine learning techniques to intelligently drive the positive or collective information from this IoT data. It's basically helping, purely helping to IoT to advanced level for purifying the information.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Madani, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Already Dr. Shafi and Dr. Naveed explained very well. I just want to add few things in between. What is the role of IoT, AI, and big data? Actually, the AI based on machine learning, optimization techniques, algorithms, analysis, which senses the data and behave like a human. So they are connected to each other. But what is the role of big data? Where we store this data? These data automatically stored in the cloud computing. We have a big data centers, big machineries, but it helps you to more trust, more privacy, more reliability on is securing the data. You don't trust on your system, you don't trust on your hardwares, but you want to prefer to save your data in Google Drive, Dropbox, different apps, online cloud applications. So these things are interconnected with either. We cannot separate, or we can say that IoT can be possible without AI or big data. So these are interconnected to each other, and these are the needs of each other. So in cloud computing, basically we cannot separate, but these are the needs of each other.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
So Dr. Zubair, what would you suggest? Like, for example, if a student is going for the specialization in artificial intelligence, I mean, like, he can move towards the IoT, or later on he can select the specialist. I mean, like, he gets the admission in like masters in artificial intelligence, and he do the specialization in big data at the end. And so is this that kind of a scenario if these three things are interconnected in a way? Like in the business administration field, we have the business administration as a major field, and then people go for the MBA and major in finance and major in marketing and HR and project management, something like this. So please comment.
Actually, nowadays we have multidisciplinary research going on in almost each phase and step of our life in the field of study, and artificial intelligence, big data, and IoT are actually I should say all the three pillars of the technology, and if these three pillars are combined together, and they give us a very complete efficient system. So if you want to have a complete implementation of IoT applications with full efficiency, you need to artificial intelligence have to play a role, and big data role is very essential to cover all the aspects and to achieve the 100% efficiency from IoT application. So I think what IoT actually in my presentation I already explained that it's basically all the sensors data. Now we have a sensors data. Now what kind of decision is to be made based on that data, and how to secure that data, and all the decision and efficient decision based on the sensor data is the field of IoT, AI, and to manage and secure that data is the big data field of study. So actually you can move from one field of study to another, and you can merge this field of study to have a very good master's or PhD degree.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, moving on. So my next question is in the perspective of this talk, like that, what is your perspective? Well, in this present global situation, regarding the role of the governments, basically in providing the safe and secure IoT technologies to the masses, and the trust that the masses can have on their governments. So particularly in the developing countries, this would be the major issues as compared to those in the developed countries. So I would like Dr. Madani to please start commenting on it.
So government play an important role in providing the IoT devices, not pure providing, like in Malaysia, they are not providing the IoT devices or IoTs, but they are providing to give you the IoT services. Like if you have like these days, they give you 1 GB or 2 GB free data for daily basis. They reduce the net packages. They reduce the smart application available on every marketing shopping plaza. They want to online training basis on teachers, different students, different technicians, and different teachers, different professors. So they will move on the IoT. So they are facilitate to their employees, their humans, their citizens easily to move on the IoT devices.
Okay. So,
Yes.
so you mean to say you have got in Malaysia, there is a centralized control of the government on these IoT technologies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Actually, these are connected with each other. They give you, they record your, like if you using the Google apps, Google app is store your location. If you using the Grab also your store your history. So all these application like controlled by the government. So
Well, control
indirectly,
mean, so, sorry, control mean the
means
regulating the government. Generally, government.
yes, sir. Government can monitor these applications.
Yeah.
So indirectly, your history, your movements, your movement from one place to another place are indirectly reached to the government. So easily government monitor through IoT devices or IoT apps can handle you. If you are if you want to go in the shopping mall, you have to scan your QR code. If the QR code and you check that you put information, your mobile number, you have to register. So when the temperature is going okay, then you enter in the in the shopping mall or in the shop. Otherwise they don't allow. And immediately this message, if you have a harm or this your temperature is not good, immediately this information go through the hospitals or interconnected. They have a system behind this one, so they can monitor, they can capture this area is there is a person from COVID or something, so they can handle these things.
So you mean to say that generally the hardware related to these technologies can be possessed by the private sector, but the regulation, and in this case the active regulation, because of this IoT technology, government can become
Yes,
actively participate in monitoring and these kind of things. So this
yes,
kind of government regulation and the private sector has to play side by side for
yes, sir.
implementing these IoT technologies. Okay, well, next, Dr. Shafi sir.
Okay. From the article, sorry, from the article you just read, I can see that the writer is actually trying to expand some of the things that we earlier mentioned regarding how the IoT works together with the AI and the big data in generating data and also in securing the data and communication in the environment. Then the article went a little bit further to talk about issue of security and posed a question on which among these two should have a greater control. Is it the government or individuals? Okay, so I want to approach this question in this way. Dr. Madini already talked about government control on maybe the data center that control the activities of the population. I want to also mention that in cybersecurity, we also use policies and rules to make control. In this case, the government have a big role to play in creating these policies and what we call norms in the activities and operation of individuals on the IoT environment. So the government have to bring out rules, policies, and enact laws on what to do and what not to do when you are online. So in this case, the government is playing a big role. However, individuals and companies that create the IoT devices also have a big role to play. The role that the companies and individuals will play in this case has to do with creating safe technology which will help individuals to protect themselves on the internet. So in this case, both the government and the individuals actually have a role to play in security and securing big data communication on the internet and also on the IoT environment.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Well, Dr. Naveed.
Yes, Dr. Shafi and Dr. Madni has summarized very well. I'd just like to add in further in that context that government has to divide this thing is a private sector and government sector. Government can manage both sectors. And I give the example of telecom. In telecom, everybody has a phone set, and they have a phone number, but telephone companies can't share this number with everyone. But government has a contract with them. If any forces or any government sector department needs some information, they can easily collect it. But other normal general people can't get this contact number from the company database. Such things should be applied in IoT. I give another example, just like a WhatsApp, we have a secure line. The government should put some regulation on a private sector or some international organization. Those are gathering information or such IoT-based information. They have to keep it safe and secure. But government can access, but on general people can't be access such thing because it's the privacy matter. There should be a ethical human privacy should be applied on such basis that security is priority for everyone.
Okay, general scenario all over the world, particularly in the Southeast Asia and all the developing countries here. So, how much transformation you feel, Dr. Naveed, that government has to do? I mean, in their offices already they have their setups and with the regulations. So, changing the laws and the things, it would be not an easy task. So, how much transformation load is there? Or is it very easy to manage all these things? This
I
new
think
scenario.
it's not a big deal. If they have an intention, they can manage it. I just give the example of WhatsApp. I give the example of Facebook. Facebook don't have such security facilities on their app. That's why I give you previously example that Facebook and Google has faced the problem in a U.S. court because they leak the information of general people. But if Pakistan government or other governments apply or strictly told them that they can't share our national information with any other, because these apps is used for a social networking. We can share any kind of information. There should be a government apply some such like we have a cyber security department. They have to follow everything, but it's very hard to follow each and every person. They have to strictly, if they can manage or strictly follow, obey these companies, private companies, that they have to follow government rule regulation. It can be easy to manage it.
So I could conclude that cybersecurity needs to play a very major important role in it to manage all these things. Is it, Dr. Shafi?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Dr. Zubair, would like to comment on it, sir?
Yeah. Yes, actually, everybody has spoken so much and so good on this question. And I just need to add one or two things. Is that governments now should take this very seriously, and they should make particularly for the IoT, they should make policies. And with the passage of time, as we are having a lot of IoT devices, and with lot of more applications coming on, and we need a separate department under the cybersecurity that should look after all the each and everything about IoT, from its devices to its software and to the applications it is being used in.
Yeah, it should be the very foolproof system, because if you want to develop the public trust, if you want to increase the adaptability and the trust in these things, the government has to play definitely a very major role in it. Okay, another very interesting question from our viewers have received. That is, how long? This is, I think, as from the student perspective, how long IoT will survive as a technology? Because in the presence of these changing technology, after every 3 years or 4 years, you find a new technology, and that totally, discard all the existing hardwares and the software and the learnings, even in the IT, particularly in the IT industry. So, how long the IoT will survive and will be replaced by a new technology, which is ready to challenge it? So, Dr. Shafi, I would like to ask this question to you.
Okay. This question is actually subjective in the sense that it will depend on who you ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay, the answer you'll get will depend on individuals. However, to answer this question in a very simple sentence, I will say IoT will survive forever. However, I would like to explain what I mean by saying this. In the area of computing, we are expecting actually new technologies to come in within very few years. Basically, we expect 5 years, new technologies will come in. The new technologies that will come in, they actually improve the existing technology, not to replace them completely. So if they are not actually replacing them completely, what it means is IoT, once it exists and we have greater control of our objects around us with it, it means that it has come to stay. The only thing other technologies will do is to improve our greater control of these objects, our robots, our drones, and whatever. So IoT will exist forever.
IoT is a concept, and it will survive. And the new technologies coming, they will definitely they will strengthen this technology, this concept in a better way. Okay?
Exactly.
Well. Okay, Dr. Naveed, it's your area, sir.
Yes, I will. There's nothing to compete with Dr. Shafi. I endorse whatever he said. But in one thing I'd like to add that whatever I have studied, every decade there is some changing, some improvement in previous technology. We have a 2G in telecom sector. Now we have a 4G, but the basic architecture and every basic concept is the same of 2G technology. But now what we have in 4G is basically better internet connectivity or better capacity. Same thing. The IoT is also basically part of computer science and other things that is basically come out through the computer science. And maybe after 10 years or a decade, we have some another name, but things should be previous one is IoT in better shape.
Yeah, okay. So, like for example, a common person can think like me. Like for example, there's a nanotechnology is going to come, and what it is going to change, and they are so. So in that way, what change, Dr. Madani? These technologies can challenge or give added value to the IoT.
Sir, according to the Dr. Shafi and Dr. Navi, IoT cannot be replaced. It can be improved. I give you the example, like in computing, we start the computing from high performance computing. Then it will be changed into parallel computing, distributed computing, then parallel computing, then clustered computing, then cluster computing merge, then grid computing comes. Then most of the grid comes join together, then cloud computing comes, then fog computing, edge computing, then IoT and big data nowadays are working. So if you go for every field like physics, they have nano computing. If you go for biomedical science, they have a biocomputing. So we cannot say that IoT will be replaced with anyone. IoT can be improved with some other merged new technology, but it will be remain or improve in a new shape. Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Really good answer, sir.
I like to add something.
Sure,
if you
sir.
allow me.
Yeah.
The thing is that IoT is still immature. I think it needs some more time to get mature. When it will be mature, then we can expect something new will come outside.
Yeah, maturity
I think it's too early to predict that we can get something new now, because I think hardly 4-5 years this technology is basically rise up and still under research. Many people are working on still on that area.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Zubair.
Sure.
Absolutely agree with all of them. IoT will remain forever, and the technologies will come. They will support it. It will become better. Maybe we can have another name of same. For example, from IoT it becomes IoE, Internet of Everything. But the concept will remain the same. IoT will remain there. The new types of nodes will be coming in. New softwares will be coming. As we have talked today, we have talked about IoT, then we have talked about AI, and we have talked about big data. If you go into the early ages of IoT, we usually don't discuss AI when we are considering IoT. But with the passage of time, now AI is one of the very essential element of IoT and big data also. So the technologies are coming, they are integrating, they are helping IoT to flourish.
Okay, thank you very much. So panel, thank you very much. Today we have almost on the, as far as IoT is concerned, almost a question, the basic question that I wanted to discuss in this session that I've completed. I have left with 2 or 3 questions here, although they are very, they are related with IoT, but they are from the general perspective. One of the question is that, first question that I would like to discuss here is the health effect. I mean, we are the human beings, and when we talk about the radiations, and there was a time when we were young, we were advised to sit at least 6 meters away from the television screen, and now we are the handheld machine in our hands. Our kids are studying from these machines, and I have got the question mark. I have the question in my mind that are we affecting the health of our kids, or our brains are working a lot on these technology. Even the younger child can operate the computers, operate the printers. Their brains are working a lot, but their physical activities are reducing. So how much these technologies, these dependability will affect on the health of the human being as a whole? So just very quickly, sir, I will not like to spend more time on this question. So Dr. Naveed, sir, please, sir, first of all.
Yeah, basically, axis of everything is basically there's some problem. If we have used in axis, we can get some drawbacks. But if we use within the limit, then it will be more effective. But we can't avoid such things. We have to judge ourselves that when we are getting tired, when we are getting eyes problem, or we eyes are tired, that we have to stop such things. Just like we're giving a game to children, kids, they're playing things. They can play 5 hours or 6 hours, but we have to stop them because they are energetic and fresh. They can absorb the pen, but we have to limitize it because we know that in long term it can be affect them. We don't have a
so IoT can, I think, help in it, Dr. Zubair. Isn't it that, like, for example, as you mentioned in your presentation and in the talk, that there are the devices that we can use to give the status of our health, about anything. So if we improve this side of the technology, health related, so they can tell our kids or the human beings or the people like us who are spending more time on the screen while teaching and researching. So they can also tell us, these technology can tell us, this is where you need to know, you need to go and take the rest and do some physical activity.
Yes, definitely the IoT application will help improve the health. But on the other hand, as you have already mentioned, that so much sensors on the body and the radiations are the main concern. And where now, as you have already discussed, the government and their policies, and now they come into play, and they have, as I've already mentioned before, that they have a very pivotal role to play in order to make IoT a complete success. So policies, I think, should be there, and the health is the foremost priority.
Okay. So Dr. Shafi, sir, quickly, sir, very quickly, just answer this, sir, please.
Yeah, quickly, I would like to say that too much use of technology, of course, sometimes affects the body. The way it affects the body will depend. Sometimes it could be a physical health issue. Sometimes it could be a mental or psychological issue. Yeah. If you remember, the World Health Organization, they've been given a lot of guidelines, especially during this pandemic, that you don't just take care of your body, but you also have to take care of your psychological or mental issues. Mm-hmm. So the use of devices like IoT devices for a long time, of course, it affects the body, it affects the psychology. And I've read also that it also affects family life. People
Yes.
now stick more with their devices than having physical interaction with the family. So moderation is very important here.
Exactly.
We have to moderate. We have to know when to use and when not to use.
Okay.
To use the devices for a very long time, it affects the body psychologically and also affect the body physically because emissions of radiations also comes from these devices.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
So basically, this is what I would say.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, Dr. Hamid Madani, same question,
Yes, sir.
sir. To you, sir, same question.
According to the Dr. Shafi, Dr. Naveed, Dr. Zubair, we should take care about, we cannot use IoT as a habit. We can use as a need. Like if you want to go to sleep, you switch off your mobile. If you want to have a study or you have online classes, then you are used to your mobile. If you use too much, it affects directly on your body and also your mind. Like before that, we are using the physical games. Now the children don't like to play the physical games. They always like to play in the WhatsApp mobiles games or these things. So this indirectly you cannot see the effects of these devices immediately, but time to time you can feel that you have some pain in your arms, you have weak eyesight. So this should be make in the limit of time. When you need, then you use it. If you don't need it, just leave it.
Okay, so it means as Dr. Zubair has told us, we need to regulate the things as well. Also, we need to educate the people as well, because most of the parents
Yes,
are. Yeah, so okay, two very very interesting question reached me because all of us are belongs to the education sector, and we are the professors. So one question is regarding the online teaching. Like if you see the present scenario, COVID scenario, there is a lockdown and there is a social distancing that needs to be maintained for at least for some time as long as the vaccine is not there. Or if even the vaccine, we are not aware that might be some other viral infection may not emerge, like if God forbid, like a COVID kind of a thing. So we cannot permanently live on the online mechanism. We cannot permanently ensure our presence on the on-campus status. So some kind of hybrid situation. We are like here with the area where I am living these days. We are in a lockdown because our area has rise. There was a rise of the more COVID cases in the last couple of weeks. So they have locked us for the 14 days. So we are in a lockdown state. So after the 14 days, this lockdown will be over and some other area might be in the lockdown. So the communication will be disturbed in that area. So there is a kind of a hybrid kind of a living style is going to be emerged. So from the teaching point of view, from the learning from the students, because these days our governments are planning to make the policies for the university to reopen. And this is very important. So I would like the panelists to discuss on this scenario. Okay, what is the most appropriate way to conduct this education? Yes, first of all, anyone, like it's up to you, Dr. Shafi, you would like to?
Okay. We have a situation here. The situation is new to us. But the good thing is already the human beings have already developed some platforms that will help or give us an alternative to our physical classroom activities. So when the pandemic came, it took everybody by surprise. The world was confused, and we had to take a lot of emergency precautions and a lot of emergency, how do I call it? A lot of emergency steps to be able to cope with the new situation that we found ourselves. So the situation of moving from physical classroom to online classroom provided an alternative for all of us. But this cannot actually be a permanent solution to the issue, because we all know that physical classroom activities actually have a lot of advantages. And also, we know that the remote classes can actually be able to cope to some extent. But in some other fields of endeavor, it will be difficult for you to be able to run remote classes, especially when you deal with practical courses and courses that will need somebody to be physically present to put the students through. So in many countries, they adopted a lot of different styles, one of which is what you just mentioned as hybrid. Like here in Qatar, because when the pandemic came, we are still in the spring semester. So we completed the spring online and we run the exams online. How it takes happen is that the exams was redistributed. That's the score of the exam was redistributed into assignments, into online tests, and that's how we completed the semester. However, now there's a new rule. For the fall semester, we are likely going to have the hybrid situation whereby the online classes will continue. However, they will take the exams physically because the situation is becoming better now. The social distancing, everybody is getting used to it. So we are going to have the exams physical while the classes will still be online. But I have the opportunity of taking one of the online classes in the US. I took a course online just recently, which I completed. So when I was to write the exams, I wrote the exams online. All they need is, they just asked me to put on my cameras. So I wrote the exams online. The cameras are on. There are two cameras. I have to use two cameras, one that is facing me and another one that will be facing behind, so that they will be sure that nobody is dictating anything for me. So with that, it gives them confidence that actually this individual is the one taking the exams. So I wrote the exams online just that way.
Yes, okay.
Let me give opportunity. Just recently.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Last week I was just conducting an online class, and
yes.
My students are generally these days during the lockdown. I am sitting in Islamabad, and most of my students they went back to their hometowns, like northern areas and southern Punjab, and like even in the Sindh. Like if I'm the student I'm talking about, he was from Sakar, Dr. Naveed from your area. He was attending my class from that part, and he was saying that Sakar is how much, sir, far from Islamabad? How many kilometers?
7 hours, 7 to 8 hours.
7 hour drives are from, it's a far area. So he is there. He cannot come here for conducting the classes. He cannot come here for taking the exams, but he was very comfortable for taking the classes there. He was saying sir, my whole family is affected by the coronavirus. I am the only one who is not affected because I am living outside with my friends just to attend my classes, because he has got the camera and this internet facility. But he is there to help them. He's provided them the food. He's provided them all the necessary things to help them to provide during their the disease. So if we call that student in Islamabad, just to make them, just government or our university pass an order that okay, you have to come physically and appear in that, it will become very difficult. And even for the teachers, most of the teachers who have gone to their hometown, one of my colleagues' family was also affected with the coronavirus. So they are there, they are staying with their hometown. So I think hybrid situation in a way that we cannot bound, it's my perspective that we cannot bound that exam should be on campus, or the teaching should be on campus, or the teacher should be on campus, or the student should be. I think hybrid, I mean to say, is we should give the facility or the option to the individual. Like for example, if he is the student, if he is unable to attend the class physically, so he can come on online. And if the teacher is not able, based on his health or on the lockdown state or any other condition, so he should be allowed to take the classes from the home. So if we are able to, so side by side, the online and the physical things should be worked together. So in that way, I think that is a more appropriate way to handle the situation. And our government should make the policies like this. I think we should give the break. The azan is going on.
Okay.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, yes. Yeah, Dr. Naveed.
Yes, okay. As Dr. Shafi said, I 100% agree with him. But I'd like to add something that we have a chance. COVID has a positive and negative points. And one of the positive is that we can promote the remote education, online education. That's the big chance, because before most universities didn't explore such thing, and it's only online education has separate department. They are running that one. But now I think each and every teachers and universities and got a chance to promote online education. They have it's new for most the professors and everything. There are some drawbacks and there are some flaws also. But with the help of IoT and with the AI, we can modify it. We can improve it with respect to time. I think within 1 or 2 sessions, it will be better. And recording exams, as Dr. Shafi has already experienced, I was also thinking that we can use some sensors or some cameras that we can try to clarification to prevent some cheating and some other things in exams. To avoid such things, we can use the artificial intelligence, and we can use the IoT as a big data for number of multiple lectures and number of assignments, storage, such thing. We can use this technology to improve the remote education.
Like, sir, we can have the smart classroom system, introduction of the smart classroom system in universities.
But still there are flaws. In that case, what we are talking about the exam session, the student should be at remote class. How we can sure that it's 100% pure, 100% clear? We should avoid the plagiarism, some such like thing. In that case, we can use some as such. We have to use some techniques of artificial or some gadgets that can help, because this COVID may be prolonged for 1 more semester. In that case, or in for future, we can parallelly establish a remote education with physical education. With on in campus education, we can also establish a remote education system.
Yeah, we should be ready for this. And secondly, another thing is there is a two school of thought. Generally, in our general discussion, there we found that the people who are they are talking in the favor of online education or in the favor of on-campus education. So I think we should come out of this discussion. We need to implement. We need to accept it. That this is a reality. So, Dr. Zubair, your area IoT. Do you have a solution? IoT, does IoT have some solution for the examination system to improve?
Actually, the IoT can provide some of the preventing measures, or make sure that the people or the students that are coming back are virus free or COVID negative. as the app Dr. Shafi already discussed that is being used in Qatar, and that type of scenario or app if we have, or universities make sure that each student have that app installed, can definitely prevent the COVID spread, and we can come back to the normal. And regarding online classes or online examinations, the IoT can facilitate the students in such a way that if we have a complete IoT environment and we have a smart grid application working full-fledged in each part of the country, so the students may exactly know when it's going to be a blackout, or there will be no electricity, so they can manage their place, so they can get electricity and they can get online education. So this is one of the benefit that IoT can provide in assisting the online classes of the students.
Like in the remote areas, almost schools are in all the part of the schools, and these education institutions are all part of the country. We should deploy one part of every institution, make it a smart place where anyone can come, and he can get the appointment, and even if he wants to attend the lecture online, even if he wants to do some examination, and that plays a kind of a chaotic here in our country. Like if you go into the ATM machine, these cabinets, individual person can sit there. I mean, it's a small where he can be monitored, he can be seen. There are 1, 2, 3 cameras on the top, on the back, on the side, all the sound controls. So I think that is possible if our government think on these lines, and our policymakers think, so this is possible that we can improve our examination system.
And this is a very good idea put forward by you.
Okay, Dr. Madani, sir.
Yes, sir. In this case, I want to discuss or share 3 things with you. Nowadays, most of the research are based on e-learning readiness of IoT, how to adopt the IoT in e-learning. Like if you take the example of Pakistan, they have different situations. Like some have a good electricity, some areas have a good internet facilities, some area has don't electricity, don't have a good network internet. So if you talk about the Malaysia, all over there is no electricity problem, there is no network problem. So these research are going on that way. Secondly, we are always try to focus on distance learning, e-learning, and online. Now, due to COVID, we totally move on the traditional learning to e-learning with the help of COVID. Yes, sir. And the third thing, in the Malaysia, there are 2 types of taking the exam from the students. Online classes, it depend upon different type and different lecturers and different university, but there are 2 types of examination are handling here. One is open book. You make the question like this way, the student solve open book. You give the time, and after 2 hours they have to submit the question. They can use the internet, they can use open book, and they don't use any camera. The second option is if you have a difficult exam, or you don't prepare like open book exams, a question for the students, you have to use 2 cameras, like Dr. Shafi told us, front camera and back camera. So in Malaysia also happening these things during COVID, and here till December next semester also will be online. Teacher will be go for teaching, attending the offices, but there is no physical classes. They already send all students to their hometowns, so all learning on education should be online.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes,
okay. So any other comment from any part or any participant regarding
Sir,
today's
I
discussion?
want to add one thing, because now IoT, we are move on IoT. So there are a lot of certifications in IoT, like IoT Cisco, AWS, Microsoft Office, Cloud. So student can do these things to improve their skills. And if we're talking about IT or information system, like if you use the management or you use the IT, there is a hub of IS. So they play as a role of bridge. So how to use the human HR or management students use the IoT devices or this thing, so they can use the different apps, different technologies, and different behaviors on that affect on individual, environment, organization, different things. So
Yeah, IT
that
management
are
is a big area, broader area. I mean, there are a lot of specialization in it.
information system merge management and IT together as it
Yeah.
play the role of a bridge.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
definitely. Sir, comment from Dr. Naveed from your side regarding in the today's discussion, sir.
I think there's my comment is mostly related to research. We have to lot of things to improve this IoT facilities, just like for online education or for other applications. Research factors for the graduate students, that research factor is very important, that how they can improve stuff. One thing, just like I learned from my research point of view, that we have to purely understand that what's our past technology and how it's going on. If we understand our previous research one, previous technology, then we can easily modify and improve the future work.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Zubair, your comment, sir.
Actually, what Dr. Naveed and Dr. Madni has said, they have actually summed up everything, and that's it for me. I think it was a very good discussion, and thank you very much for calling us together.
You enjoyed the
Yes,
company of.
yes, I have had a lot of things to learn from this section, and definitely my knowledge has been increased a lot.
Well, basically, this section was for all of us, and we are the faculty members, and all are facing the same scenario. Our students are watching, will watch this video. Our students will watch this video. Our faculty will watch it, and the general public will definitely, they will watch it. For everyone, there is something in it. My perspective of conducting this talk was basically to educate ourselves and to explore, I mean, to brainstorm this scenario. Okay, at the end, I would request Dr. Shafi to comment on today's session, sir.
Okay, let me start by thanking the organizers of this discussion. It's a very interesting discussion. Definitely, we've learned a lot of things from it. And I hope in the future we will meet again and collaborate either in discussions like this or in academic research areas, because now we already know our different angles of looking at research. So IoT generally have shown that it's an area that, though we still in the lab, work is still a work in progress. We cannot say we've achieved a lot in it in terms of research, but already it has shown a lot of impact. It has shown a lot of advantages in improving human activities. And I hope that the world will take advantage of that to improve our societal growth as we move to the next generation of computing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, this session was organized by the Placement Bureau, Federal Urdu University. I am the in charge of the Placement Bureau. So beside this, my other channel, the Learners Podcast, I will play it, I will display it on the Learner Podcast. Actually, Learner Podcast has already initiated a series of talk on the topic of the COVID-19 and challenge to the employability. So with the combining all these two platforms, so I've requested Dr. Naveed, Dr. Zubair, and Dr. Madni to come over, and Dr. Madni and also Dr. Shafi. Thank you very much that you have accepted my request to talk on this such an important topic. So at the end of this discussion, now I would like to conclude the major points that we could found with this discussion. So first one is the government regulations. Government regulations and the government commitment and the seriousness. This is the first major point that has emerged out of this discussion. They will provide us the umbrella environment for the implementation of the successful IoT and the building the public trust and the interest in adopting this technology. Second one is the as Dr. Shafi, who is also the expert and who has discussed this point, that the cyber security that needs to be very important, that needs to be reconsidered. I mean, in every country, to make this IoT successful and implement it in every walk of life. Third one, from the student perspective, our universities should initiate the certification courses. Our degree courses, they should include the IoT in their academics, so that people will learn, the experts will be produced who will be handle these technologies in the future. And then the public awareness, that is also very important. Definitely there are the sectors, interest group in every societies. So we need to talk. We need to open a debate on the implementation of these technologies, so that everyone become clear about it, and that will also help our policy makers to make the right policies. And the last point, Dr. Shafi has told us, and Dr. Zubair, that the collaboration and the research. Well, definitely, this COVID, no doubt, although these technologies were already there, but with the COVID, we have learned to use these technologies like Zoom and other online meeting platforms. So now we are, educated enough and trained enough to conduct such meeting, and that is the best way. If we are doing the research, this is the area. Research is an area that is definitely we need to work. All of us should take it seriously. We should sit together. We should do the brainstorming, and particularly the area that from the Pakistani perspective, the case studies. The industry or academia linkage, the liaison. That needs to be improved. We can learn a lot. Like what is going on in the Malaysia, what Madni is doing over there, and what Dr. Shafi is doing over in the Nigeria, and what is going on in the Qatar where he is teaching, and all these things we can share our knowledge, our experiences, and we can come out with something where more fruitful, more adoptable, and more general. So at the end, I will say thank you very much. I'm very much thankful to you. It's a great privilege for me to have all of you with me on this discussion. And inshallah ta'ala, in future, we will have the more discussion together, and more our friends and colleagues would definitely participate in this discussion. So Dr. Shafi, inshallah, I will send the thank you letter from my team department as well to you to participate in this discussion. So all of you have been. Thank you, Dr. Madni. You know one thing, Dr. Shafi, Dr. Madni. Interesting thing.
Maybe Dr. Shafi, you remember Dr. Zubair?
Yes, I remember his face. Yes, I remember his face.
In Malaysia.
Exactly.
I also remember.
Yes.
You know,
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Of course, thank you.
Yes.
So thank you very much, sir. All of you, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing us.
Thank you, Dr. Navid.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, we will be in touch, inshallah. After COVID, we will invite you to Pakistan.
Inshallah. I would like to come.
You're most welcome.
Because your domain is very hot right now. A lot of people are working on cybersecurity.
Sure.
We will arrange some workshop or something for our students.
Okay, I will.